Welcome to Liesel's Artistic Studio. Today let's have some fun by painting this easy and pretty sunflower garden. I hope you enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe. For supplies today, I have watercolor paper that is taped down, and on my paper it might be a little hard to see, but I've drawn a really quick and simple sketch of the center of my sunflower, as well as a few petals and a few leaves, just to give me an idea of where and how big I want my sunflowers to be. I have two brushes I will be using today, a larger round brush that is nice and fat on the end with a nice point to it, as well as a thin, skinny brush for some detail work. I also have a clean glass of water, a paper towel, and, of course, watercolor paints that are mixed with water and ready to go. For my colors, I will be using olive green, yellow, yellow-orange, brown, and black. For my first step on this painting, which is optional, I'm going to put a very light wash of color in my background. So start this by wetting your paper with water here and there, and then add some dabs of color like yellow, yellow-orange, and a touch of green, and blend them together. After your wash is completely dry, let's start painting the center of the sunflower by painting a circle of color using the yellow-orange. Then add some brown along the outside edge of the yellow-orange you just painted, as well as in the center. Now allow that to blend together a little bit, and you can also add a touch of black if you want. After that is pretty much dry, let's start adding some flower petals. So first, get a good amount of yellow on your brush. Then just dip the tip of it into the yellow-orange. And to paint the petals, use 2 strokes, pressing your brush down and lifting it up at the end to make a nice point. Do this several times around the center and space them just a bit. These petals are going to become the background petals. We will paint more over the top. Now if you want, you can paint a side-facing sunflower also. Paint these petals the same way, but instead of painting them in a full circle, just do half. Now when your first set of petals are completely dry, we can start painting the second set. Now this time, dip your brush in the yellow-orange generously, then dip just the tip into the yellow. Then paint the petals in the same way, overlapping some of the background petals. After all of the petals have been painted, let's go back into the center of the flower again with a little bit of black. Define around the outer edge a little bit more and add some dots of color, working it towards your yellow circle. And also put some black dots in the very center. After your black dots are done, if you want to, you can also add in a few brown dots. Now let's add a bit more detail to the flower petals. So take your thin brush and some yellow-orange and paint just the very tips of each petal. Then using that color, pull some of it downward in a few lines to create the look of veins. Next, if you want to create a little depth and dimension to your flower, take some brown or black, and with your thin brush, add just a touch of color at the base and in between some of the petals, connecting them to the center of the flower. When you're done with that, just repeat the process on your second flower. We are finally ready to add some greenery, so let's start with the stems, using green first and then adding just a touch of brown to one side of the stem while the paint is still wet. Then for my side-facing flower, I'm going to add in some small pointy greenery that can connect my flower to the stem. Now I'm going to paint in a few leaves that can connect to the stems, and then I'll add in a few in the background. Start by painting the entire leaf green, and then just add in a touch of brown to it, more so on the bottom or base. Also, try to have your leaves painted in different values, some lighter and some darker. After your leaves are dry, go back in with your thin brush and some green or brown or a mixture of the two and carefully paint on some thin leaf veins. Now be careful not to get these too dark. If you need to, it might be a good idea to test out your color before you paint to make sure it's not too dark, or you can use your paper towel and dab off some color if it does go on too dark. Thanks for painting with me today. I hope you had some fun. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please consider subscribing to my channel so I can continue to help you discover your artistic side.